You're watching the Desert Moon Hockey Podcast with Matt and Rich.
All right, episode 30, Desert Moon, yada yada, whatever. Look. I would be in a much better mood right now if I wasn't, like, kicking myself in the arsehole right now. Because, my God, do you know what mistake I made, what decision I did not make this week, Richard? Do you know what I chose not to do, and I don't know if I can forgive myself for this? Like, this actually might be worse than, like, being unfaithful to my wife. Like, this is how serious of a mistake that I made. Can you take a guess?
Well, it was being unfaithful to the jersey and the hat above, would it not?
Oh, God. So, last paycheck, I had $107 to my name. I ended up buying an ASU jersey for $60 or $70 or $65 or $70 because I'm like, you know what? I wanted one of these anyway. Why not? If I would have stretched it, I would have had enough for a standing room ticket. My wife claimed a student section ticket, so we could have been there. And we decided just not to go because, like, I didn't buy the ticket, and she didn't want to go by herself, and it's a whole thing, parking, whatever. But it's like, we just decided not to go. And I don't know how to watch the games other than Pac-12 Network, and I kind of find a lot of those things to be, like, overpriced. But so I didn't get to watch it, but I was following along on Twitter. Guess who scored the first freaking goal for ASU in the Mullett Arena?
Well, it'd be none other than future Coyotes captain, Joshua Doan.
I think I hate myself. I think, you know what, like unironically, I think, like, the only way I could feel worse is if I was, like, unfaithful to my wife or something like that, because I feel like I have betrayed something, because, you know what, it was affordable, it was right there, I wanted to be there opening night, I was talking about it forever, and I was like, just for whatever reason, chose not to, and the first effing goal goes to Joshua Doan. All right, the Chad himself, the savior of this franchise, future Captain Coyote, Shane Doan's son. I feel like I let Doaner down. I can't even call myself, like, a Doan fan anymore, because how the hell do I choose putting gas in my car over Joshua Doan?
Yeah, I guess who would have guessed? But yeah, that was a crazy atmosphere. I don't know if you were seeing on Twitter all the, like, atmosphere of everything, and wow,
hockey doesn't belong in the desert. We're never gonna get that building full.
Yep.
We're talking about Coyotes, like, not gonna get that building full. ASU sold that place out. They were selling standing room.
Season tickets are also sold out in, like, what, a few hours or something like that?
Yeah, it was like 2 hours. Like, and also, like, on top of that, depending on what ticket package you bought, you either had to make a $1,000 or $2,000 contribution to ASU. You had to forcefully donate money of $1,000 to $2,000, and it still sold out in, like, 2 hours.
Yep.
Don't sit there and try to tell me, like, I don't want to ever hear anyone again say hockey doesn't belong here. All right, I already know you guys couldn't afford to go to a playoff game whenever the Coyotes were in the playoffs. The whiteout was just a freaking ruckus. All right, anywhere from the footage to the America West to me being right there at jobbing.com arena. This market's hungry. The Coyotes go over to this 5,000-seat arena, 4,700, whatever the actual final tally is.
32.
They go to this college arena.
27.
12 people. I think it's just 12 tickets.
200.
But they go to this arena, and, like, the most expensive glass seats sell out immediately. And people are like, oh, well, they probably just gave those to, like, corporate. Like, they're, like, corporate partners. Sure, right. They're going to just give the most premium tickets away to corporate partners. Absolutely freaking that's just coping. That is just straight up cope right there. All right, but they'll start selling out. Almost all of the season tickets, like the majority of them were selling out. Most of the single game seats are selling out. They're projecting to sell out every single night. But the people are still saying they won't sell out. Hockey doesn't belong there. Or, oh, well, it's not hard to sell out 5K. Bro, I thought the Jets, I thought hockey belonged in Winnipeg, and they'd be able to sell out every night. They didn't even sell out their home opener. Nope. And people want to be like, oh, well, something about playoffs or the team. Like, no. Remember, we're supposed to sell out every single night. Yet the Coyotes are going to have one of the highest sellout percentages this season, and you guys are going to cry about it. Like, immediately the market showed in Tempe via ASU hockey, via the Coyotes, even Tucson embraced the Roadrunners and still get consistent numbers that this market loves hockey. You did not capitalize on the market, and the amount of people like are chanting and cheering for this to fail. You look stupid, and I'm like, I look at the passion there, like I know I shouldn't get fired up or emotional or whatever, and it's like it's cringe, fine, whatever. But it's like this market effing loves hockey. It's always been a hockey market, all right? Just from the grassroots growing up, it's taken 20 years to get to this point, 25, whatever the hell we've been here. You know, it's taken this long, but it's because, like, we were growing it right in a market that theoretically should have no business liking hockey. Like, everything from the youth leagues, you know, filling up in 45 minutes or whatever it is, to the ASU actually getting enough funding and enough like recognition, not only get decent prospects to come over here, decent players to commit, but also to afford their own building. Like U of A, they're building theirs now, but U of A, it took them longer than ASU. ASU's getting good recruits. ASU, literally that place was rocking. Like, even, like, the game that I went to for the women's hockey, like, it was a scrimmage. It was a 3-on-3 scrimmage, and people were there excited for ASU. It was, like, it was such a powerful atmosphere. Like, this market loves hockey. Straight up, this market loves hockey. And I should have gone to that freaking game. I should have. I'm not going to be able to afford opening night for the Coyotes. I could try, but there's no way in hell. But it's like, I kind of hate myself for not being a part of that. I should have Dude, I sold my first PS5 to get a Shane Doan jersey. I should have sold my second one, too! To go watch Joshua Doan live. I'm fake fan. My God, fake fan. Anyway, Richie.
Hi.
Richie.
That follows up Matt's rants.
Oh, man, like, I finally gave us our first good opening clip in forever.
Was that good to get off your chest, I feel? It feels good? Yeah?
I still hate myself. I don't know. I was a depressed, like, fat kid growing up, and, like I hated myself in high school. I've never felt so much self-loathing than when I had the ability to go to this, like, this historic moment that, like, you don't get that back, and I didn't. Like... I should have just sold the PS5. I'll stand by that. I apologize, Joshua. You'll never watch this, and you're probably, if you do, you're laughing hysterically at this freaking maniac ranting on a podcast. But I apologize for not showing up.
Well, I'm gonna have to take over the reins here real quick and bring us back in, hone us back on track here. I just want to say that this is episode, I believe, 30 of the podcast. Congratulations on making it to the big 3-0, everybody. And obviously, if you're listening to this and you enjoyed Matt's rant at the beginning there, then you absolutely should make sure that you subscribe, like, or follow on whatever platform that you're listening to this on. And if you're listening to us audibly, you can also go and view us live on YouTube, where we have video. And on this week's episode, we have the start of the Coyotes season with their first game in Pittsburgh. Obviously, as Matt teased there at the beginning, that with ASU playing their first game at Mullett Arena, and just chit-chatting, I guess. Just generalized chit-chatting.
Generalized chit-chat. All right, so let's calm us down. I think we should start. We should actually start with a little bit of a little Leafs hate segment.
Oh yes, yes, I forgot about this. Yep.
Do the honors, Richie. I'll provide the color commentary.
All right, so we are once again recording this on Saturday, uploading Sunday, and I believe it was today, Saturday. Somebody put out into the Twitter universe that the goaltender for the Toronto Maple Leafs, one Matt Murray, is going on to LTIR.
Minimum 4 weeks is what they said, the things I was reading.
Remember, people, Toronto Maple Leafs, the people who said that this was a great pickup, that he was going to be better than Jack Campbell. Going on already on to LTIR.
the amount of cope that I saw all offseason. Oh, you know what? What is it? Kyle Dubas is their GM. It's like, oh,
Yep.
it's such a great general manager. This is a sneaky pickup. Oh, Matt Murray only sucked because Ottawa sucked. It's like, no, Matt Murray sucks because Matt Murray's not good anymore.
Yep.
He also gets hurt a lot. It's nothing against him as a person. I don't care one way or the other about him as a person. I hope you heal well. Hope you come back and you look strong. But it's like they already have 50 contracts. So what? They had to like do some maneuvering to allow Tucson Roadrunners legend Eric Shalgren to be called up and be the backup for Samsonov. It's like it's so weird. It's so like, oh hey, this is gonna be such a great move. Oh, the Leafs are gonna be so good. Leafs, great. It's like, dude, you're 3 games in, we're already seeing like cope, and
Yep.
I'm like, anyone could have told you. Like, it's the same thing as acquiring Darcy Kemper and being mad that he misses time. Same thing as acquiring any injury-prone player and being like, oh well, he missed some time, missed a month or two. It's like, yeah, when you develop injuries and you have a higher likelihood of re-injuring them. If I break my arm, whether it's only a 2% higher chance, I am now more likely to break that same arm, specifically in that same way, that same place, while doing the exact same activity. Because that's how it works. So it's like, when guys become, like, injury prone, you kind of have to account for this, and you can't just say, oh, he's going to bounce back, because, like, he's been fighting through this kind of stuff for, what, the last 3 seasons, if not a little more? So
well, no, because, maybe he was an injury. I remember he didn't play, right? So he won that Stanley Cup, and then he didn't play that, like, regular season, and then they went back into the playoffs and he won a second Stanley Cup. Was he injured during that regular season, I want to say? Or maybe he started injured? I want to say there was an injury there,
God,
too.
You're talking about Marc-Andre Fleury, because didn't Fleury... No, Fleury missed the playoffs because Matt Murray was outplaying him for that first cup. That's right.
Yeah,
or the second cup that he was outplaying. It was one of the 2 cups he was outplaying Flower, which made me sad.
Yeah, Murray outplayed Flower in the first cup, and then I want to say they're like, all right, let's see what Murray can do in the regular season, and then he got injured in that second season, and then he came back for the playoffs and won that second Stanley Cup. Yeah, it's just crazy to me watching these Maple Leafs fans justify this. It's like, you knew this was coming. You knew this was coming. You had to, like, acknowledge that this is what you get when you sell yourself on damaged goods. Like, not to be a dick, but that's just kind of the truth. And it is just baffling watching that, Twitter justify somebody that's just not very good anymore. The same
And
argument.
It's like nothing against Matt Murray. Like, hope you heal well. We are laughing at the delusional Leafs fans. We are using your unfortunate situation to take a laugh out of them. So, like, if the very unlikely chance that you ever watch this, we're taking the piss out of them. We're not, nothing against you. It's just, it is what it is. It's
like us Coyotes fans when the Oilers picked up Mike Smith and were like, yeah, good luck with that. He's going to give up a lot of stupid goals. And what did he do? Give up a lot of stupid goals, including ones in the playoffs that costed them. It's the same thing. Like, you got to recognize when somebody is problematic in that sense. And speaking of problematic.
Problematic. All right. What's your problem?
We have another injury to announce.
Oh, God.
One Nick Schmaltz injured.
Give an actual opinion? Or
I don't know if they got
still day-to-day?
I still think he's day-to-day, but he was injured in the opening night game versus Pittsburgh. And, man, I want to love Nick Schmaltz, but holy crap. Is it so rough to see that guy struggle consistently with injuries? Just nonstop. It's
also entirely possible he probably shouldn't have played opening night. Because, like, remember, he missed the last, 2 preseason games with an upper body injury? And it's like, I know you wanted to be there opening night. I know it's like, it probably, like, you thought, or the medical staff thought it probably was fine. And it probably might not even be the same exact injury, but... Again, if you're not fully healed, it's a higher likelihood of re-aggravating it and making it worse. It's like, let's just say he would have been out the first week. Just hypothetically. We are not doctors. I am just giving a hypothetical speculation and lining out my logic. if you knew he was about a week away from being 100%, you wanted Dylan Guenther to get his evaluation anyway. Let Dylan Guenther start the season, and after Schmaltzy's 100%, there you go. Because now it's entirely possible what theoretically could have been like another week before he's 100% could turn into 2 to 4.
Yep.
And we're still waiting on an update. I think it's supposed to be reevaluated. But it's like he didn't return to the game. He played, what did Craig Morgan tweet out, 6 minutes in that first period? And, like, can I just say, before we, like, really get into it, how much I respect how the team fought back. And, like, it was almost a 1-goal game at one point. It was almost 4-3. And, like, Vejmelka really bounced back in the second, period. It's like, you're down a forward, and you're finding a way to, like, fight back in. Like, until the bottom fell out, which is pretty common from, late last season, or late games in last season, pretty common the bottom finally falls out, but they were competitive for a good 40 minutes, like, right around there. So I'm not even gonna be mad. I'm not even gonna disrespect it. But, Schmaltzy, I hope it's just a week. You miss a week, whatever, and you're fine. And, like, the best case scenario is a guy like Nick Schmaltz or someone on the medical team is watching this, like, laughing and like, wow, that AZ's a real idiot case, isn't he? And he's like, he's fine. Like, that's the best case. But he's not playing tonight, so just saying.
Yeah, and because he's not playing tonight, Dylan Guenther is getting his start in the NHL. Spicy
Currently,
Dylan.
right now, as we're recording, 16 minutes past 4 right now as you're listening to us currently. So, Spicy Dill, I'm predicting Hattie. I don't think I tweeted it out, but I'll predict Hattie, and then whenever he gets a -3 and maybe an assist, I'll look pretty dumb when this goes live.
I'm gonna be cautiously optimistic. I think he'll get like 3 shots in the game. I think that'll be good, and no goal, no assist, but just he'll have a few shots on an NHL goalie in an NHL game, and allow himself to really start to understand what it takes to be a pro. That's what I'm going to go.
How many games played do you think before he gets sent back down? I'm calling 5. My gut has just said 5. Not even gut, just brain. The back of my head has just said 5, and that number just feels about right.
To me, it sounds like they want to hold on to him and reserve him for, backup cases. They're not just going to try to throw him into the fire for 9 games. I kind of agree with you. I would say probably like a 5 or 6 game kind of stint.
And then he gets sent back down. Once you send them down, can you call them back up at the end of the season once the CHL season is over? Or is it only if you send them down before the start of your season, then you can call them back up at the very end? So I know it's a weird timing thing.
Yeah, I think if the CHL is over, I think that you can call them into the NHL. I want to say, I think that's what you can do. But I don't know. Those rules are so obnoxiously stupid.
They also, I'm assuming they get tweaked every now and again. So it's like, because think about it, like, realistically, if the AHL, because I think the AHL is a minimum of 19 if you're not from the CHL. I think if you're from, like, other leagues, you can be 19 and be down there, but I thought it was 20. Well, let's just say that the AHL was 18 flat, and, like, all these players were being drafted. The CHL, all 3 leagues would be demolished every year. All the best talent would be going to the AHL because they're like, hey, you could just go develop against AHL players, and the AHL would actually probably be a higher level of competition because you have even better, like, young talent. Like,
that's why they have those rules in place, because of that exact reason. Because all the first round picks of the NHL draft would just immediately go to the AHL if they're not ready.
I mean, first, maybe second or third. Like, you're probably getting third to 7th rounders staying for another year or two. So it's like that's why the rules are pretty much, unless you're using them on your NHL team, they come back to us, which is fair because, again, those leagues would be devastated, constantly devastated on their best talent, and it also theoretically could even hurt development because some players, like, thrive in that environment, and that extra year there helps. So it's like, I don't know. Anyway, back to Guenther. My hat trick tonight, my Hattie. I'll probably hop on stream, like, immediately after we're done recording this and watch the game. But best of luck to you, and I really hope he, like, makes it hard to take him out of the lineup. Like, I really hope, like, when Schmaltzy comes back, it's like, you know what? Maybe we'll just keep you up the year. Like, not throw him in the fire, lead us, but it's like, hey, the season's going to be a punt anyway. Why not, hey, we got this young kid. If he looks good enough, Like, if he looks like he belongs here, hey, let him just develop here. And, like, that's just what I would prefer if he plays the way he can and steals that spot. Probably not going to happen this year.
Well, we all know there will be space. Like, there's a lot of veterans that are just veterans that are most likely going to get moved at the deadline and whatnot. So there will be space, but it's just really up to them. To be honest, to me, like, this is going to sound rude, I still don't think he's nearly that ready to be in the NHL. Like, just looking at him, comparing him to even like my boy Nate Smith down in the AHL, I still think that Nathan is further along than Dylan, and it just makes no sense to me why you'd keep Nathan down in the AHL and forcibly like put Dylan Guenther in a worse situation than potentially going and go back with the Oil Kings and win a little Memorial Cup or whatever it is down there.
But is it really like a waste? Because like we talked about this, especially with Kyle Capobianco. We talked about players overcooking in the AHL. You can only learn so much. Once you've hit that peak, you win that championship at the CHL level. I think he's specifically in the WHL because he won with the Edmonton Oil Kings.
Yeah.
And so, like, theoretically, could that not be worse to send him back down and be like, well, whether you go back or not, it's like he already feels like he's conquered that, but then you bring him to the NHL, it's like he's got a whole new, like, mountain to climb. Like, it all depends on the individual, obviously, and, like, I have no idea if I'm just getting in my own head right now, but it's like, theoretically, couldn't that be a thing?
I don't know, because for me, Dylan Guenther isn't a bottom sixer, right? He's not a bottom sixer. You have to put him in top 6 minutes, and is he ready to take on those pros that come with that top 6 minutes time, right? You're talking about other first and second lines of the NHL that he's going to have to go up and compete against. And if they make him look stupid, that could shatter a kid's confidence, right? So to me, in that sense, like if you're not putting him on the bottom 6, then you're honestly better off making sure that he plays one more year down in the minor leagues.
Yeah, which is still logical, but at the same time, I love Michelli. It's like Michelli's spot, that second line right wing spot, that could easily just be Gunther's spot. And then Michelli, you have him stay in the top 9. And then you can have like McBain and Michelli on your third line. I know McBain, they started him on the 4th, but it's just like, theoretically, that top 6 position is open. Because me and you were struggling of who's going to get that second line right wing spot anyway going into the season. So theoretically, if he plays well enough, this is all contingent on if he looks ready. And the main reason I didn't think he was going to is because in that game in Tucson against Anaheim, there was, I think, 2 different opportunities in the second, I think it's the second period. Because I was watching it over there. It's like he had the opportunity to pop in a rebound, or he had the opportunity to finish off a 1-T, and he just didn't have that killer instinct yet. And again, I couldn't tell if it was just, he's not used to playing against, half pro team. I couldn't tell if it was just because it's a preseason game. I have no idea how
He's
hard
also
most
injured.
guys are trying.
He's also injured getting up to speed. That's like another one too.
So it's like, I wasn't sure if it was like, it's just better to throw him down for the extra year anyway. And it's like, he's good. Let him get one more year. He should be fine. It wasn't like I was worried. It was kind of like, I just don't think he's ready this year. But if he did something to earn the spot, like, because I don't think BA and head coach Andre Tournier are comfortable with doing the Barrett Hayton treatment, where John Chaika made sure that Hayton was on the roster for the first like month, whatever it was, even though he didn't really play. Just because, you get used to the NHL style, and in reality, you're skating with NHLers, but you're not skating with NHLers, so it could have had worse effects on it because you're not really in game shape, you're not playing games. So it's like, I don't think they would do that like unless they really thought he showed something and he could take the spot this year optimistically, not like guarantee. So I don't know. I think depending on how he plays, it's entirely possible he sticks around. I still think 5 games he goes back down, but they saw something, and I'd really like to see it too.
I think what they saw to me were the 2 most important plays in preseason that I saw from him were It was one that Baird Hayden ended up capitalizing on, and then there was one other play that somebody else ended up capitalizing on. But those two plays were he was able to steal a turnover in the offensive zone and go in and get a really good primetime chance. Those two plays, I think, are probably what got him the look, would be my guess, because those were really good, like, defensive steals into a great offensive chance. And if he can continue to push himself that way and end up becoming like a Mark Stone, that would be really, really good for this team. Something that we've been desperately needing is somebody who's, like, sneaky good in that sense.
Coyotes fans, would you trade Connor Garland and OEL for Mark Stone?
I would. I would. For a young Mark Stone, yeah.
Realistically, we're trading Connor Garland 1-for-1 for young Mark Stone because, like, OEL was just for the bad contracts, which we still won that, by the way, because we got all the expiring contracts.
Yep.
That was what. But it's like, would you make that trade? I would trade Connor Garland for Mark Stone. Love Garland. Mark Stone's a better player. So, like, if Gunther just keeps developing, if he just keeps working, like, he's still in the prospect phase, he could still be any kind of player. And it also, the wheels could fall out. Like, we've seen way too many times where that's happened. So we're the cautious type here. But I'm just saying, like, back of my head, 5 games down. But if he ends up playing really well today, that second line right wing spot is not solidified. Like, I don't even know why. Like, Fisher, I think it had to come down to he's good for the locker room and he scored a couple of goals in the preseason that got him his roster spot this year. I don't know what the hell Cassian and Tuna are doing out there. I know what they're doing out there. You go hit, but Cassian's been really undisciplined in that first game and really, like, put the Coyotes at a big disadvantage being out there on the ice. And Tuna is just the exact same player, like, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I think if you're going to be undisciplined, that's fine, but you better be crushing somebody with your undisciplinedness, right? Like,
Give me
and I'm
a
not
big
saying
body check, a momentum shifting body check.
Yeah, and I'm not saying, like, go out and hurt somebody. Like, I don't agree with that sentiment, but, like, if you're going to go out and try to lay a hit and it ends up being, I don't know, interference or something like that, like, it is what it is. But at least you're trying to go out there and be physical. Like, that's my biggest concern. And I feel like that first game, we didn't see a lot of that. We saw a lot of, like, pushing and shoving, and there was that goal that Pittsburgh ended up scoring where, I don't remember who it was, but they were, like, celebrating in Vejmelka's crease and essentially, like, staring at him, like, celebrating, like, insultingly at him. And afterwards, there was a scrum, I would call it. I don't think it was a fight. It was just kind of like a scrum. And, like, that's the type of stuff that you're going to want to see out of this team. This is what Bill Armstrong's trying to produce, is this physical, mean team. And I felt like quite a bit of that game we're pretty quiet in that sense of being physical and mean. A lot of dumb penalties that weren't any of that.
I think, like, what you had, like, probably one of the better hits was I believe it was Stetcher hit Crosby off in the corner. And that I got under Crosby's skin. He went over there and slashed him, no penalty. And it's like, oh, well, you didn't see the play before. It's like, I don't know if it was interference or roughing or whatever. I don't know if it's just you're not supposed to touch Sidney Crosby. But there was physicality in the corner. And then, you know, they're kind of jawing each other back by the blue line. And he gets slashed, no call. So it's like, at the very least, we're doing something. But I want to see more of the big hits, the big legal checks, shift that momentum. I want to see a guy get rocked and, like, if you can get an NHLer to even second guess for a quarter of a second, should I go in the corner right now, you can win a board battle and get a premium chance in front of the net with a good setup pass. Like, it's what it's all about. So I'm like, I want to see more of that and a little less of, like, the scrums after whistles, because I feel like a lot of the scrums after whistles were just kind of frustration scrums where it's like, oh, we're getting outplayed, and I'm like, you know me, I don't like the we're getting out skilled, go punch a guy mentality. I like the go, you know, rough him up, like, check him, but use those checks to shift momentum, not like a toddler throwing a fit.
Yeah. I agree. Definitely. It's that physicality that makes you look over your shoulder, makes you second guess yourself. That's the type of physicality that we want to see. Like you're saying, do I want to go into the boards and play this puck right now? Or am I just going to rim it and pray that I don't get hit, right?
Mm-hmm. And like that quarter of a second can buy you a lot, because if you're not engaged and you're still kind of skating over there, like even a guy like Connor Garland, like that's enough time to get the edge or sneak in behind someone. And even if it's just a tic-tac pass, if you're fast enough, like that's sometimes all it takes.
Yeah.
And like I want to see a couple of pretty plays. Again, we're not winning 40 games this year, but I would like to see some closer games and some good plays and the core continue to grow. Like I want to see what the cup run team is going to look like. I would like to see the beginnings of that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I completely agree. And also, I just want to mention, live update here. I know you guys are going to hear this and you're going to be like, yeah, I already know the score and the outcome of this game. Already down. 1 goal. Power play goal for Boston.
About right, because we're terrible in the penalty kill. It's funny. It's like, oh, hey, we want to fix the penalty kill. I think we gave up, 2 power play goals or 3 power play goals the other night against Pittsburgh.
Something like that.
And then it's like, we got to improve that power play. We had no shots on the power play. We had a 10-minute span in the first period, like 10, 12 minutes, where they didn't record a single shot. I thought they did, but they didn't actually record the shot. It's like, again, I'm not expecting winning every night. I'm expecting, give me competitive hockey. Lose 3-1, 4-2, 5-3, a goal or 2 difference. That's all I want. And like in the second period, where Vejmelka is locking back in, I think he had 47 saves or something like that, 5 or 6 goals against, but he had like 47 saves. That's like the 5th time he's had 46 or more saves. He broke the record for rookies last year with 4 of them, because like the defense bends too much. It's way too much bending, and even though like 20 of those shots could be pretty easy saves, pretty pedestrian, you're getting that goalie moving more. You're wearing him out. You're tiring him out. It's all about, if someone faces 15 less shots, they are more energized for those harder chances. Whether they stop it or not, it's higher the statistical likelihood you stop it.
Yeah.
Like, again, you also don't want the opposite effect. Remember Brizgalov? He wouldn't face a shot in like the first 10 minutes of a game.
Yeah.
And he would give up like 3 or 4 unanswered because he'd just get bored.
Yep. Yep. And then you had the outliers like Mike Smith, where in his prime he would go up against 56 shots and stop them all because it would like zone him in more. So I don't know. It's a tricky thing.
Goaltenders are weird.
Yeah.
Like they're so like some goaltenders. You get 5 shots in the first period, and they're thankful, they're energized, they're locked in for the rest of it. Some goaltenders, they face 25 shots in the first, and they're locked in and good to go. Like the goalies, it is such a weird position, and there is no generic consistency, because the best goalie in the league this year might be an AHLer in 3 seasons.
Yep. And
that is hyperbole, but I'm just like how much it's not consistent. Goalie is one of the weirdest positions, man. Like it's weird.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
Who had the 2 goals? I want to say
Richie. Richie did.
Oh, it was both Richie. You're right. They're both Richie. I was making fun of Toronto fans. I'm like, hey, Richie has 2 goals, and Lyubushkin's not even playing for Toronto anymore. Because like the amount of people are like, oh well, I don't even care that Richie's scoring. It's like we won the trade because we needed Lyubushkin. You didn't even keep him.
Nope.
You rented him. You didn't get out of the first round again, and then like.
And you gave up a second as well, right? I'm pretty sure.
That's this season, or is it next season's draft?
I think it's next season. So I think it's a 3rd this season, but they can opt for a 2nd next season or something like that. And they're absolutely going to do that because that's what Bill Armstrong wants. He doesn't care for the short term. He's looking to long term.
Because that extra 2nd round asset this year, let's say you're getting a player the caliber of Liam Kirk, right? With that 3rd round pick, like a good prospect. Injuries might very well derail his career. Hopefully he bounces back this season in Tucson, but good young prospect, just not one of the upper echelon. Or I could have an extra 2nd round pick a year from now, and even though we're not quite sure how that draft class is going to really look yet, that's an extra asset. That's an extra pretty premium asset that you can help flip back up higher in the 2nd round, package that in another 2nd to get back into the 1st round with an extra pick. Like, there's so much you could do there. They're probably, unless they see someone like, oh, this draft is going to be even deeper than the last draft. We can do something with that third. They're taking the second. Like, they're going to take that second round pick.
Yeah, they are playing chess, not checkers, my friends.
And when we have that cup in a 4,700 seat arena, you know what? They should, when they move into this new arena, this new Tempe arena, if they have playoff games, they should host all playoff games in Mullett. They should just be like, hey, we're gonna use this 4,700 seat arena just like to piss off the Canadians. We'll have watch parties in the regular arena. You can sell them for like $20 a pop or whatever. But the actual team plays down in Mullett.
Aside from your trolling, that would be crazy in the opposite direction though. Like, let's say you fill out the big boy arena, and then like you have the small arena for like your reserve watch party. That would be actually really really cool.
I'd be able to afford a playoff ticket.
Yeah,
I would just go to Mullett. Let's watch it on the screen in Mullett.
Yep. Yeah, that's an interesting thought. I didn't think about that.
Just say it. Look, I know I'm a bit of a troll, and I know I've had to quiet down the crap posting just a little bit, just a tiny little bit, but come on, these are great ideas. Imagine just to own the libs, quote unquote. Like we're not going to use the 1,600 seat arena. We're going to use the 4,700 seat arena for the playoffs.
Yeah. No way in hell that would happen. You'd want those profit margins, but it would be funny. It's a fun thought experiment. I will give you that. It would be really funny. Just like piss off all the Canadians.
You see how in NHL 23, the R Arena is not Mullett Arena, it's the generic AHL Arena, and it still says Glendale, Arizona.
Yep. Didn't even type in Tempe. Couldn't even do that. Too lazy. Like, if it's going to be Glendale, then just keep the old arena. Like, what was the point?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they could still technically use it. It's just like a license fee. And considering the building doesn't even look like that anymore, like I don't think, I'm assuming it would go to Glendale. I'm assuming that it's a small license fee, they wouldn't care. Or if it has to go through the NHL and the NHL is no longer partnered with, it's like, oh, well, there's a complication there. You're telling me Glendale wouldn't work out a small agreement for a video game license? Like, that city is bleeding money with their bad decisions.
Yep. Yep.
Anyway, Coyotes are 0-1-0 to start the season. Well, was it 6-3 or 6-2 final?
6-2, I believe. Yep. Double Nick Ritchie goals.
Yeah, because I was streaming the first period, and I went to go lay down because I just felt tired. I was in here playing NHL 22, listening to the next two periods, and I'm like, you know what? Same thing with last year. If the games were 40 minutes, this team's not bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
this team's not bad. Did you notice, like, was there a standout player for you that wasn't named Nick Ritchie? Was there anyone that, surprised you?
So for me, personally, I still think he has to work on his foot speed, but the way Connor Timmins was moving the puck in the offensive zone, I really liked. He had that post chance where he hit the post, or maybe it was tipped and hit the post. We don't really know. It was kind of hard to see. But really good shot from the point by him. He looked like he was pretty NHL ready to me. I still worry a little bit about the foot speed and getting, back in order to play defense with the lacking of foot speed. But overall, I liked a little bit of his game. Anybody for you?
Honestly, the first period that I was watching, the only standout would have to be like Karel Vejmelka's resilience going into that second period. And like at one point, he had 4 goals against and his save percentage was 900. Because I think he had 40 total shots. So it's 9 saves for every 1 goal against. Fact that this man, like, his back is broken already, game 1, from carrying this this team on the back end, and he was able to fight back and even put up a decent third period, all things considered. Like, again, to our expectations, it's like I think that's something admirable, but I also I know Carroll does that. It's kind of like one of my favorite things about him. He shouldn't have to face 50 some odd shots a night though, that's why you need a good backup goalie. Other than that, I remember a couple really good plays with Barrett Hayton where he was kind of driving. He was applying pressure as one. I think it was in the first period over in the offensive zone, our right-hand corner. He actually applied some pressure, forced a turnover. I don't think anything came of it, but little things like that, it's going to get him points. It's going to get him scoring opportunities. I want to see more of it. Maybe Gunnar played with Keller tonight, right? That was the lineup.
I think so. I didn't check the lineup, so I'm not even gonna say I think so. I don't know.
But they were changing up a little bit throughout the game. But I think it was him and Michelli out there for a decent portion of that first, and it's like Michelli is a good scorer. He's a good skilled player. You have a couple of guys like them connect, some things can happen. So I did appreciate that. I wanted to give Josh Brown more credit because in the defensive zone he was really solid from the entire first period I was watching. Problem was my first play. I think you were still watching the stream at that point.
Yeah.
The first play that I called his name, he turned it over in the neutral zone. There was a scoring chance going the other way. So it's like he is what people probably remember Zbigniew McCulloch being. Ridiculously solid defensively in your defensive zone, forgetting all of the actual other positives Z had to his game, his decent two-way ability. But it's that's where he shines. Anything else, I'm probably not the greatest.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't really have anything else to input-wise. Did you want to move on, or do you have a few more things that you want to talk about for that first game?
Let's move on from the first game, but let's go ahead and just get your quick thoughts on Juuso Välimäki and Connor Ingram. Because my first reaction to the Connor Ingram one was, and it isn't even he's a terrible goaltender. Wasn't that the guy we scored 5 on for the last game in Glendale?
Yeah, it was, I'm pretty sure. And he hasn't had a lot of success. Wow. Yeah, that happens.
Richie's in the doghouse. That's a man in the doghouse.
He hasn't had a lot of success in the NHL, but he's proven himself to be quite good in the AHL, and I think he had really good game against, I think it was Colorado in the playoffs. He's shown some flashes of brilliance, and I think that's what they're banking on, similar to Darcy Kemper back when he was in Minnesota, right? Because I think a lot of people forget how Kemper looked in Minnesota. He was not very impressive in Minnesota, to say the least. And then that's when he went to LA, got a little bit better, still playing a backup role, and then came to Arizona, and that's where he started to shine. And I think that's a similar process, and I am pretty high on him. I think that Coyotes are always good at turning goalies around. We do it all the time. Devin Dubnyk, Darcy Kemper, Scott Wedgwood, Mike Smith. Even
people forget Mike Smith was seen as being done.
Yeah,
people forget that it's my dad said it, I think best, at the time, is he'll have one good year wherever he goes, and then he'll get whatever contract or he'll get the job, and then he'll immediately start either sucking or putting up mid numbers. And that was almost exactly what happened here, except for he put up better numbers consistently.
Yeah, and I think if you even go even further back, I want to say even Hobby Bulin was struggling, and then he came to Arizona, and he was played really well.
He was a Winnipeg player.
Okay, was he? Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. Am I thinking of not Hobby Bulin? Curtis Joseph. Joseph, I think.
He had one of his 2 years. I think it was his first year here was good because the Decade in the Desert year wasn't good. Because I remember he came here because no one else no one else thinks I could still be a starting goaltender, and it's I'm going to go prove him wrong. I think that's what you're talking about.
Maybe I don't know. My memory gets a little fuzzy when we go that far back, so I'm not going to pretend. Yeah, I'm not going to pretend like I remember those times when I was 6 years old. But I do remember, we've had really good success with goaltenders, and I do like Ingram, and I think that I think he'll find success here. I think that competition's always good, especially for those two. It's going to be something that's going to really propel each other to becoming better goaltenders. As for Välimäki, first round pick for the Calgary Flames, hasn't really panned out well too yet. You can't hate on giving a guy a shot, right? And here in Arizona, our defense is still open. We're looking for the guy. Especially, we thought Chychrun was the guy. Probably not going to be the guy. We really like Gostisbehere, but we know the reality of that situation, which is he's probably going to be on a team going into the playoffs, by the end of the season. And
Let me cut
it
you off.
really
He will be gone. He will not be on this team at the end of the season. He will be on a different team.
yeah. And so with that being said, like spots are open here in Arizona. Defense, it's free game. You got both left and right side is not set in stone. So maybe that's a chance for a guy like Valimaki who can come in and try to compete and not just make the everyday roster, but even push himself into the top 4, maybe even first line minutes.
I think Valimaki, with the amount of people that were like, hey, take care of him, Arizona, whatever, it's like, even with, I think he's had a couple of injuries, it's also, my logic is Calgary is a very good team, like they're a playoff team, that it's going to be a tighter space. So if he's a kid that might be a fringe kid, I think he's, 24, and Connor Ingram's 25, it's like, why not give him a shot on a roster like this? Again, they're going to lose a lot, but if you have guys that are like, hey, I want my NHL spot, I want to establish my game, like, those are the best kind of players for a rebuilding team, because even if you do not keep them, 3 years down the line, you can sign them to a 1-year extension and trade them. You can trade them off at the deadline as a rental. You can, have them be part of the next couple of years to get this culture going where you want it, and then bring in those upgrades later on. Like, that's, I hope him all the best. Connor Ingram, even though it's a little bit of a meme, like, oh, is that the guy that we beat in Glendale? It's like, despite the fact that he had a 3-4-3 or something like that goals against in the playoffs when they got swept against the Cup champion Colorado Avalanche, he had like a 912 save percentage. It was above 900, which is freaking impressive in those 4 games. He started 3, but in those 4 games, I think UC Saros got hurt in the first game, or was he out the entire playoffs?
I don't remember. I'll be honest with you. I can barely remember what I ate yesterday. So
that's fair.
Stats are always rough with me. I can remember, faces and things like that, players and whatnot, but down to nitty gritty stats, I can never remember.
We're down 2-0, by the way.
Oh, very solid.
All right.
I noticed that we're also doing exactly what we are known for, with only 3 shots on goal versus the Bruins 11. Very good.
Dude, the shots at one point against Pittsburgh, they were looking like Pittsburgh could have hit like 50 or something, or was it 40? No, I think it was 30 before we hit 10, because they had like 20 some odd in the first period.
Yeah.
Like, it was ridiculous. But let's go ahead and talk. Let's shift gears real quick. I want to talk about Tucson.
Okay.
I have couple numbers in front of me. I'm trying to get all of the notes of like all the different teams. I want to talk as much as I possibly can, because that's the loser I am. But talk about Tucson. That first game, shutout win at Henderson. They win 2-1. Milos Kellerman is first from Nathan Smith and Cameron Hebig, so Smith gets on the board. And then Tyson Empe is first from Travis Barron. Ivan Prosotov starts out with a, 29 save effort to open the season. And today, John Gillies get the start, and I was confused. And this right here should tell you exactly why they claimed Johansson and Ingram. Yep. Gillies, in 25 minutes, 42 seconds played, 9 saves, 5 goals against. Prosy had to come in relief and stop 5 of 5. They are currently, right now, down, I think it's 5-2. They have 2 goals. One of them, one is Ronald Knott, his first from Carcone, and John Sebastian Day. And then Day scored his first from Michael Carcone. So Carcone is still producing consistently down there. He's at a point per game pace right now, but
yeah,
it's that Jason or John Gillies was never a guy that I'm like, I look at that signing, oh, he's going to be the backup. It's like, I thought it was Prozy's job to lose for the backup, but it's like, but you need AHL goalies. You need depth, and it's like his first game, he's already getting blown up.
Yeah, that's not a good sign. That's real sad for Gillies, because I'm pretty sure he was pretty highly regarded in the Toronto organization, and does not seem like he is doing too well. Obviously, it is just one game, so we'll see. Maybe he can bounce back, but yeah, 5 goals on 9 shot is not acceptable by any means.
Not at all. No, it's bad. It's just plain bad. I'm trying to also pull up ASU women on the 12th. I hope that the notes are finalized. They won that game 4-2. So let's talk. Just go and switch gears again. So the first period, 22 seconds in. This was a really weird start to the game. So there's immediately a penalty 17 seconds in, and 5 seconds later, Mason Walker, her first on the power play from Florence Odd. And then in the second period, GCU scores back-to-back, including one goal that shorthanded I called. I don't know if you saw.
I saw the vlog,
the clip I played. So it's about 5 minutes or so before the third period starts, and Elena was tired. She's like, hey, if we stay here any later, you're driving home? And I'm like, I'm not driving home from Tempe. So as soon as we leave, I'm like, on the vlog, I'm like, oh, they're winning 3-2 as a meme. Like, hey, Tristan Craig's going to score them. But then on Twitter, I'm like, so we're leaving early. They're going to win 4-2. Mason Walker, her second of the night. Jillian Ketchum, her first. And Madeline Pladsen, her first. One's a power play goal. The Ketchum goal shorthanded. They win by a final score of 4-2. They beat GCU.
You called it.
I do that. Apparently, I do that.
That was at Oceanside, right?
Nope, that was at Mullett. I was at the first I was at the pre-game, at the first technical game at Mullett, because it was before the official opening.
Okay.
And that was where I bought that ASU jersey, and then I wore the hot pink one my wife ordered me because it came in that day.
And then the question I had was, are the women's, are they consistently going to be playing out of Mullett as well?
Well, when I was looking at their schedule to start the season, on half these games, it'll be like, oh, some are at Oceanside. So I'm assuming if there's scheduling conflicts, it's going to be at Oceanside. Others are arena to be determined. So I'm assuming it's, hey, depending on what the men are doing, or depending on if there's gymnastics or a concert or something like that,
gotcha,
they'll play there. But it's they're 3-0-0. They're a pretty damn solid team. I like a lot of these girls on the team. So it's they go out there, they work hard. They're pretty good at finishing what they start, and I highly recommend. Look, I know there's some weird stigma around women's hockey for some reason, but it's not quite as pure skill as I think the PWHL. It's everyone talking about the PWHL. It's all skill. Most of the women's leagues are skill, which is fair. Women tend to not be quite as consistently physical as the men's game are. But it's these girls. I don't know if it's just because they're in the ACHA, not the NCAA, but it's Division I competition, and they're constantly going in the corners and getting the dirty areas. They're not getting too many big checks, but it's some pretty grindy hockey. It's really entertaining hockey. I highly recommend checking it out. I don't feel like I've wasted my time. The couple games that I've gone, it's been really fun. Especially if you're someone like me that has less money, oh, I can't afford the boys, or can't afford to go to too many the ASU men's games. Just go to the women's. It's honestly pretty entertaining as well. It's a pretty good show. I highly recommend checking it out.
Yeah, for sure. And I was really close to going as well. I just ended up having some work conflict at the end, and I really do want to go and check out the women's game, because I absolutely do want to support their side and make sure that we can get them up and going as well. That's why I was curious about the Mullett Arena, was because I really do hope that they can keep playing in the Mullett Arena, and getting consistent ice time there all the time would be really, really good for them.
Now, let's go on to the boys. The boys. So, last night, first goal, we already talked about it with about, 40, or was that 36 seconds? I'm an idiot. 46 seconds left. Joshua Doan, his second of the year, from Lucas Sillinger and Jackson Niedermeyer. Is he the kid of Scott or Rob?
I don't know. I know he is one of theirs, though. I do know that he comes from hockey parents.
Jackson, he's a defender, right?
I believe
Scott?
so. Yeah.
Jackson Niedermeyer, elite prospects. Let's go, boys. Arizona State University. I need to make a video at some point about I've been planning it for a while, but I need to actually do the frickin' work. But his father is Scott, by the way, and he has a brother. He has two brothers, Joshua and Logan. But he's a winger. I thought he played defense. Huh? I remember there was a little clip on the ASU Twitter that said, defender or from the point or whatever. Maybe he just likes to shoot from the point. But it's Jackson, the amount of famous kids that have gone to ASU already. From what was it, Mario Lemieux's kid went there.
Yep.
Joshua Shane Doan's kid's going there. Scott Niedermeyer's kid. So I think it'd be a fun video. But then, because apparently he took the night off from playing with St. Louis in the second period, 5:44. Ryan O'Reilly from Jack Jensen, and the final score is 2-0. And let's check in on TJ Septemfelter. Oh, wow, he had a pretty terrible second shutout. It was only 30 saves. He only had
40.
30 saves that time. It wasn't his
10
normal
less.
35, to 40 saves. Oh God, just what a trash goaltender. Couldn't even stop 40.
Yeah, Septemfelter's looked really good so far, and statistically is showing that as well.
Mm-hmm. Like literally, he has not recorded a game with less than 30 saves in the first 5 games. He has 2 shutouts. I know he had a couple of games where he gave up a few goals, but it's like that save percentage can't be bad. Like and isn't he an undrafted goalie? So I'm saying theoretically, Coyotes, you're looking for a goalie. I think he
John Gillies is not doing so hot, so might be seeing Septemfelter down the A next year.
I'll take Septemfelter in the A. Wait. I didn't say that. Richie's not getting the joke.
I got it. I had my sex joke. I think you're just got sex on the mind, my guy.
You said sex.
I did say sex. I don't deny that, and you said taking it in the A. So
I did. I would never say I'm taking TJ. I would take TJ Septemfelter in the A. What are you talking about? But I was at this Pokemon tournament, right? So like right before we recorded, that's why Richie was waiting on me. So,
yeah.
My wife wanted to give me a kiss, and I was like, "No, I can't kiss you around here. I gotta maintain the V card, or else the nerds won't respect me." And
That's
this girl
true.
that was standing right behind my wife was like, "I've never heard a dude say that." I'm like, "They'll never respect me if I have a girlfriend. They'll never take me seriously."
It's true. It's true. I'm pretty sure they smell the weakness.
He's a simp. Nah,
Yep.
he can't play our children's trading card games with our massive anime, card sleeves and dual mats and whatever. I couldn't think. I was gonna say like bazungas or something stupid, but I don't know what an actual like alternative for
Bobas.
Mama Jammas.
Bobas.
Is.
That's what you call the Bobas.
This has gone downhill. This
Yeah, it
has
has.
so downhill.
This is the dirty episode. Apparently, we got nothing.
Hey, we're getting down in the dirty areas right now, boys. We're right there.
Yeah, we're at the lowest of the low. That's for sure.
Just unsubscribe and go away already. My God.
But what's up?
I want to check in with the Coyotes real quick. It's because as soon as we're done here, I'm cutting this call and going to watching the game. But it's like the shots are 12-4 at the end of the first. They're down 2-0. Pavel Zacha is first from Foligno and Smith on the power play at 4:03, and Charlie Coyle his first from Frederick and Greer at 18:24. Good to see Trent Frederick getting some NHL time, but looks like it's going to be more of the same. I want to see they've already given up 2 power play opportunities.
At least it wasn't 3 goals in 8 minutes, so there's positive there.
You're not wrong. You are not wrong, my friend.
Anyways, we are approaching the 1 hour mark, so I think it's probably about time to start winding things down and wrapping this up. Yeah, I think the Coyotes are gonna suck this year. I think
they're winning the cup. They're gonna win the next 81 games in a row, going 81-1-0. They're gonna think about Pittsburgh. They're gonna meet him in the finals. They're gonna go down 0-3 just to like toy with their victim. They're gonna like actually throw the first 3 games and then slowly but surely chip away at their faith.
Yeah, well, I thought there was going to be a little bit more competition here. Obviously, it's just the first 2 games. I know it's a long season ahead, but so far it's been a little bit struggling to see them playing like this. I was expecting some close games, some physicality. I hope that they can find that this year and really find that groove. Aside from that, I think episode 30 is done and dusted. I think we can put this one away.
Go away.
Call it good. So just make sure that if you've made it this far, I don't know why you haven't, but make sure to give us a like, a follow, a subscription on whatever platform you're listening to us on. Once again, we do have a video version of this on YouTube, so feel free to watch that if you are liking to watch faces for some reason, weirdo.
Yeah, weirdo.
I guess you're also weird if you listen to voices in your car or in your head.
I was gonna go just for the head joke, but you're like, oh, in your car. I'm like, dog. Like, how else am I gonna fill the void of silence when I'm driving home or driving to work and contemplating just not going home or not going to work?
The 8 minutes of advertisements aren't good enough for you?
I
any radio
have
station?
an ad blocking browser on my phone and I watch YouTube that way.
I'm
sure as hell not. It's 3 ads. It's anywhere between 2 and 3 ads, and like half of them are unskippable at this point. I'm like, dude, you guys did this to yourselves. I was sitting through all the ads when it was just 1 ad trying to show support back in like 2018 or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as we got to 2 ads, I'm like, I'm not wasting my time anymore because you're making the platform like inherently worse and then saying we'll sell you the solution by paying us a monthly fee. You can have no ads. I'm like, or I can just go on this here Google Play Store and look up an ad blocking browser. And now I'm watching all my content without ads.
Yep.
It's not going to work on me if you start like urinating on my burger. I'm not going to just like pay you to not urinate on my burger. I'm going to go somewhere that's not going to urinate on my burger. And you're just not going to get my money.
Yep. That is for sure. All
Anyway,
right,
second period's about to go live. Go away. Bye. I hate you all. Just kidding.
Yeah.
JK, love you, lol.
All right. See ya. Bye, everybody.